Hey, phony homies, it's time for episode 6 of season 5 of the Fake Football Guys show. On today's episode, we discuss this week's waiver wires, drops, ads, and so much more. Are you ready? Let's go. Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Fake Football Guys show. I'm your host, Giancarlo Campos, and alongside me is Week 1's losing fantasy football co-host, Dustin DL Lingaman. What's up, DL?
What's up, man?
You're muted. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. What's up? What's up, my guy?
Not much, man. I lost Week 1 too, so we're on the same page. Yeah.
It doesn't get any better than this, man.
When it rains, honestly,
it does. As you can see. Honestly, man, like, here's the thing. It's Week 1. If you won, you didn't win the championship. And if you lost, your season's not over. Right? Yeah. That's the perspective I have on it. I think it's a lot of times, even myself, we get like a little bit like overreactive, that knee-jerk reaction, like, oh my gosh, I drafted the wrong team. Like, I don't know, a Jamar Chase, who like literally shit the bed and didn't do anything, either to T. Higgins. I'm not just saying it was like, oh, it must have been because he got dumped. No, it wasn't that. Or, I don't know, Ashton Genty, which Genty in itself, he's a rookie, so I'll give him a break. You know, sometimes it gives a little bit of time, but just all the guys that I thought were gonna like be awesome weren't awesome at all. Like even Drake London, he didn't have the best game. He got injured towards the end. George Kittle, I mean, at least he scored a touchdown. That's all I ask. That's all I ask for my fantasy players. At least score a touchdown before you get hurt, right? Like, come on.
100%. 100%. It was a weird Week 1. Week 1. So, like, now we'll get into all that. Yeah, and we'll get into a little bit of Bears stuff because we had a very down Week 1 for the Bears. So
hold on. Let me talk about this for a second. I mean, it like ruined my day. We just talked about this off camera. You know, it really ruined the whole Tuesday. Not that Tuesdays aren't even that great, but like the whole like build up, man, because Week 1, you're watching it, you watch all the preseason. It's like, okay, we got the coach, check. We got the line fix, check. We got the number 1 quarterback, check. We got weapons, check. The defense is looking good. Okay. And you're watching all these other teams. You're like, oh, I can't wait for the Bears because it's going to be awesome. We're going to beat the crap out of them. And you're like, yes, the first drive. We won the first drive again. Okay, here we go. And then every Bears fan ever experience happens. And they just lose it. They lose it on stupid stuff. They lose it on, like, just the defense all of a sudden decides just to kind of give up towards the end. Are we on the right side? I feel like you're over here usually. And I'm over there.
Whatever you want. It's your world. I'm just living in it.
Okay, anyways, that's better. But yeah, man. And then, like, it's the same fucking story. It's the same story. The offense doesn't get it done. The quarterback play is horrible. The calls aren't there. And yeah, Ben Johnson challenging. I don't know what the hell, why he did that, but he did it. Okay. It reminded me of Flus. Not going to lie. Carlos Santos. Kick it as hard as you can. I could have kicked the ball out of the back of the end zone. And I would have pulled a hammy, but
it would have been hilarious seeing you kick the ball. It would have been hilarious.
Dude, I could have done it.
We got let down again. I don't want to go into it too much because it's going to just disappoint me. It is what it is. It sucked. It was a depressing-ass game. And, on to week 2.
Yeah, tomorrow I'll be fine.
Yeah,
tomorrow I'll be fine because I'm going to get some cool waivers.
Yeah, and we'll get into that. But before we do that, go ahead, DL. Go ahead.
No. Okay, I'll wait until we get to the waiver part, and then I'll ask this question. It was a really good question. All right, go ahead.
Cool.
Pay the bills.
All right, let's go ahead and pay some bills like we always do. Let's remind the people, DL, on Twitter, where can they follow us?
Tweet FFG.
Awesome. And what is the hashtag if they have any questions that they should use?
Ask us, FFG.
They could also send us emails. If they don't have Twitter or X and they want to send us emails, DL, where can they send us fantasy football questions, DL?
Ask us, ffg@gmail.com.
And they can leave those emails there. We'll go out and open those, respond to those. Love getting those. Finally, if they want to leave us voicemails, what is the phone number they can use?
You can call JC, especially this weekend because he's going to be out of town in Miami. So he's going to be like super bored. So call him at 708-655-4508. Make sure just make sure you send them pictures of you looking great. We got a question though, or a comment from Guy who said, "At least we're getting a new stadium."
That's right. At least we're getting a new stadium. That's right, Guy. Shout out to Guy. I had my final fantasy football draft every year. I'm in this league with a bunch of older dudes, guys like my age or close, a little older than me, but a bunch of old dudes. They've been doing it since like the 80s, and I've been in this league since I was 16. Yeah. USA Today, they used to use that for fantasy. Anyway, they always do the draft the weekend after Labor Day. So sounds crazy because some of the games have already gone through. Whatever. It's a dynasty league, so you have your guys.
Okay. I have some stories to tell you, but go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. I just want to give Guy a shout out because Guy brought some really, really good beer from Wisconsin, and he shared those. And shout out to you, Guy.
What kind of beer? Oh, awesome, Guy. What kind of beer?
Real good stuff. He could throw that in the chat.
Guy, throw it in the chat, dude.
A few other places. They're real good stuff. Good stuff.
I love Wisconsin beer, man.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not gonna lie. But okay. So before we jump into the news,
before we do that, please be sure to like, share, subscribe, and
smash
that notification button. That way you know when we go live. We're on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and anywhere you listen to your podcast. Sorry about that.
That's okay. You should hit that subscribe button so we don't have to text you like, "Hey guys, we got that."
Yeah. When are you guys going live? Well, if you're subscribed, then you hit the notification button.
Then I want to have it like that. Like, oh, I didn't wait. Yeah. You still do that YouTube thing? Like,
yeah, we do.
Motherfucking. So, okay, story time. Tell me. I just want your thoughts, your comments, if you will. Okay, So my uncle league. Right? The 14-man league, right? So my uncle was getting kind of upset because during the league, like it's kind of similar to like an auction. You have a budget and you can only spend X amount of dollars on certain players. And as the draft goes on, you're running out of money. So you can't get like that one last like wide receiver. And so what people were doing is after the draft, what they would do is they would go grab that wide receiver or they would like drop the guy that they really didn't want and got the guy that they wanted, right?
Interesting.
So my uncle was like, wait a second, that's kind of not fair. Like there's
There's a
people
way to
that
fix
are,
that. Yeah.
hold on, I'm getting there. So dang it. Okay. So anyways, he was like, all right, so here's the rule. In week 1, you cannot add or drop anyone. You have to play your guys as is, right? Okay. So I'm like, whatever, totally understandable. I'm not going to do that, right? I'm going to play by the rules. Okay. So I had Tyler Bass, who is the kicker for Buffalo, right? Gets injured. And I'm like, man, like he's injured. Like I'm going to go grab a kicker real quick, right? Wednesday comes rolling around. He's like, hey, Dustin, just so you know, I have to reverse that because we can't add blah, blah, blah. And I was totally nice. I was like, I understand. I get it. I know it's a rule, but like, honestly, it's a kicker. Like, it's the only reason why I dropped him was due to an injury, not because like, I wanted Will Lutz or something like that. Like, I mean, I think it's a little ridiculous that I can't do that, blah, blah, blah. So we kind of go back and forth on it. And he's like, but a rule's a rule and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but like, this is like, obviously, no, this must have been like Friday night, my bad, because Auburn went off and got like 11 points. And I'm like, honestly, like getting a kicker is kind of important. Like, that's unfair. Like, I should be able to do that. So we go back and forth and he's like, oh, it's just a kicker, blah, 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 this and that. And I was like, yeah, but like, that's unfair. That's like ruining the whole competition piece. Like, I should be able to do that. I'm like, can't you just make a rule where it's like, you cannot grab somebody unless they are injured prior to it. So
why couldn't you grab him? What was the reason? His game already had played, or what was it?
No, it was because the rule is you cannot drop or add anyone until after week 1.
That's dumb.
Thank you. I was like, are you like, what's the like? I'm sorry if everyone else sucks at drafting. They suck at drafting. Not my fault that you guys don't know that like this guy's going to be great.
What platform do you guys use?
We use Yahoo, but listen, he does it separate. So we do an offline draft.
That's fine.
He puts them on. Hold on. Mm-hmm. So anyways, I like pleaded with him. I got him to. I'm like, just put it to a vote. I'm like, if everyone in the league agrees that this is like I'm getting an unfair advantage, then go ahead. Like I'll take it, but let's put it to a vote. And I won it. I got the vote.
Wow.
So, but yeah, I was just kind of like, dude, we gotta fine tune that rule just a little bit. I get where he's coming from. I think that's smart because it's like, yeah, like just because some guy like did a wrong pick, like, he messed up his budget. That was on him. That's not on, everyone else. Anyways, go ahead. Comment.
The solution on Yahoo is to flick on the option that says players go on waivers immediately after the draft. That's how you solve that. So that when the draft is over, there's a 2-day window where all the players are on waivers and all the teams have already drafted can try to go get those guys if they want, or not. And then after those 2 days,
their waivers.
They become free agents. Yeah, exactly. They lose their waiver, and then they become free agents. That's the solution.
And to your point, Guy, that's exactly what I told our commission, that league. I was like, so you're telling me like everyone has to draft like 2 kickers? Like that's what we should do? Like that's ridiculous. I'm not doing it. So anyways, it was kind of I'm not trying to like throw my uncles on the bridge. I'm not silly. I'm just talking about like this happened in our league. And I was like, wait, that is a good point. Like he made that a rule. I knew about the rule, but yet I went on and broke it.
It's not a good rule. I mean, it's not a good rule.
It's not a good rule. I think I understand what he's doing. He just needs to tweak it a little bit. Like, just tweak it enough where it's like, okay, like it stops the people from grabbing, certain players, but it also doesn't hurt a team because I'm like, literally, I could lose. And he's like, what do you mean? It's just a kicker. I'm like, it's Aubrey. Aubrey's kicked 11 points. He's got 11 points on me. There's nothing I can do to overcome that at this point. I mean, there could be, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, fair. That is fair.
All right.
Yep.
So let's get into the news.
Let's do it.
Okay. So we're going to start things off with this just came across today. Or was it today? Maybe it was yesterday. Anyways, Eagles acquire running back Tank Brigsby. I said that
Bigsby.
Right.
Yeah,
Bigsby.
Not Eleanor Rigby, but
Bigsby.
Tank
Bigsby. So they get him from the Jags, which is crazy because that backfield's already very, very crowded, right? Like, and I was like, wait, what? Why did they do this? And essentially, it's so he can return kicks. That's why they got him. And they got a 5th and 6th pick, or let's see, the Jags got a 5th and 6th pick. So I just thought that was kind of crazy, but I also liked it because I have NTN on one of my leagues. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And obviously that is awesome. He's going to be the lead guy. And don't forget about Tutu.
Yeah, I'll say this about Bigsby. I think one of the biggest reasons why they traded for him is because Will Shipley got hurt.
Yeah, I can see that. But I mean, I'm not
yeah, that's good.
Phony Homies, that would be a guy I would drop. I would not he's on the Eagles and let me pick him up. Or if you had him and he's on your bench, drop him because I don't think he's gonna add much value.
Yeah.
I just don't see it.
I think I'm a little different in a different camp. I don't think you're gonna get to see him do too much the first week he's there, but I would give him 2 weeks and see how they use him. That's all. Because he would be a handcuff now for Saquon, and if Saquon were to go down, I think Bigsby would have a lot of value. But just see how they use him. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, There's so you brought some Spotted Cow. Definitely like that. Staghorn, I like. That's a good one. Hunters, I haven't had that.
Hinterlands?
3 Sheeps.
I had the Hinterlands. That's good.
I've been to the 3 Sheeps Brewery. That place is awesome, by the way.
Nice.
Definitely check that one out. I haven't had that one. Michelle Hammerschlagen. McHammerschlagen. Of not.
You're wild for that.
And Oktoberfest. Okay, yeah. I actually went to Lyle had its very first Oktoberfest. Shout out Lyle, Illinois.
Oh, hell yeah.
It was okay. It's a start. Okay, moving on to other news. Lamar Jackson admits regret after sideline altercation. So if you didn't see this, there was a Buffalo Bills fan who decided, I don't know what he was doing, but he's kind of a younger kid, right? Mm-hmm. He's like 16, 18, right in there. And he decided to shove Hopkins, DeAndre Hopkins, and also shove Lamar Jackson. And mm-hmm. Lamar was like, what the heck? And shoved him back, right? Mm-hmm. Now, here's a reminder, folks. These are real people. These are professional athletes. And just because you bought a ticket doesn't mean you get to do whatever you want. And keep in mind, they can beat the ever-living crap out of you.
Yeah.
So I don't know why you thought it'd be a good idea to shove a professional athlete. Anyways, but yeah, Jackson expresses regret after shoving the fan during a tense moment in a loss to the Bills. The fan had slapped helmets with Jackson's teammate DeAndre Hopkins during the game loss, blah, blah, blah. Long story longer, that fan has been banned. So he can never go to a Bills game ever
Did you see him?
Again.
Did you see him? He apologized, he released a statement, and he was wearing a neck brace. The fan was wearing a neck brace. I think he was thinking about suing. So
Okay, here's a couple things to remind everyone. F around and find out. There's one thing. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. So yeah, dude, you just won a ticket to sit on your couch. And if the Bills continue to be successful, you're not gonna be going to any of our playoff games. So anyways, next news, which doesn't even matter. We talked about JJ McCarthy, literally won the game.
I'm trying to share screen real quick so I can show you what the fam looks like.
Okay, hold on.
Shout out to World Star Hip Hop.
No way. Bro. I thought he was a teenager.
Nah,
this is a grown man.
Yeah, man.
No way.
Yeah.
Dude, you get what you get. You're an idiot.
Yeah,
you literally, what's his name? Did they give his name?
I don't think so.
We could dox him, but we're not going to.
Yeah, we're not going to.
Is that real?
Really? Yeah, that's dead serious. I saw it.
Shut up, dude. There's no fucking way.
I'm dead serious. That's how I come across. So thought it was hilarious.
Dude, that's messed up. That is messed up. All right. Anyways, there were some injuries, so let's get into them.
It's so good stuff.
I love that. That's like my favorite one.
That's the best one.
So if you've been watching us for like 5 years, you're probably wondering, wait a second, where's the doc? He retired. He's no longer a part of the show. Bro, not cool. Stop
sorry.
it, dude. Don't do that. See, now I gotta say, not everyone can watch it because you did that. Let it go, dude.
That's fine. No one knows.
Anyways, we just got rid of him, and the bit kind of got old, and it wasn't really funny anymore. It was really funny with the Wombats. I don't know why, but then with us, it just, I don't know, kind of died. Anyways, we're gonna go through this. We're gonna set things up. I've only highlighted, instead of going through every team and every player that get injured, I'm only highlighting the ones that like are fantasy relevant and that could honestly be a decision that you need to make. Hence why we have the waivers. So starting things off, we have George Kittle. He hurt his hamstring, as I kind of mentioned in the beginning. He's going to be out to 3 to 6 weeks, which is a huge bummer because he had a phenomenal camp. And with a plagued 49ers team that don't have a lot of options when throwing, that sucks. Sucks for everyone. And it sucks because you probably got him pretty early. Speaking of which, for San Francisco,
they put him on IR. They put him on IR.
Oh, they did?
Mm-hmm.
That's something new because, that was kind of floating around.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anyways, Brock Purdy also got injured in that same game with a toe and shoulder injury. He's likely to miss week 2. Son of a gun. In our auction league, that's the only quarterback I got, so I've got to pay attention to these waivers. Next, we're going to flip over to Kansas City. Xavier Worthy dislocated his shoulder. He's going to be out for multiple weeks. So there's probably going to be some guys we're going to talk about for KC. But literally, he was like the number one since Rashid Rice is so serving that suspension. It was like him and Travis Kelce. I saw this meme of like Taylor Swift being like, he's showing you up. He's the number one.
Yeah, he's taking your spotlight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That was a good one. I should have saved that one. Anyways, also, once again, what's going on with the 49ers? I want to know because Juwan Jennings actually hurt his shoulder. Things came out later on today, in fact, that said like he actually avoided like a serious injury. So it's not like still injured, but it's not like IR or like he's going to be out for multiple weeks. But what is going on in San Francisco?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Sometimes you got that bad juju, man.
But like everyone, like they're just decimated.
Yeah, they are decimated. It's crazy.
Okay,
it's crazy. Speaking of big injuries, this one sucked.
This one sucked because you probably drafted him real early. Brock Bowers is dealing with a knee, which isn't good. And
did not look good.
It does not look good in the unknown duration. It hasn't come out. Usually because it's Tuesday, right? We probably won't get a better idea until after Wednesday, tomorrow, really. Because that's when they usually get like a day off on Monday. Tuesdays is just kind of like a walkthrough, or they're kind of setting up. And then Wednesday is when they actually put on the pads and start going after it. So we'll probably have a better idea or timetable at that point. So check us out on Twitter at Fake Football Guys. Don't forget the hashtag AskUsFFG. Speaking of other tight ends, although Meyer might be
Max Meyer,
he was looking good, dude.
We talk about it. We go into it.
Okay, sorry. I always forget we were talking about this. Okay, another guy off my team, Evan Ingram, tight end for the Denver Broncos, who also sucked week 1. Is dealing with a calf, and it is questionable for week 2. Son of a gun. And then we're going to wrap things up with Jalen Waddle for the Miami Dolphins. Once again, hurt his shoulder, but it doesn't seem that crazy. Literally, it says just monitor health status closely. So I think just depends on how much he practices. So that's another thing, phony homies. Pay attention to those practices. Try to find some sideline or beat reporters. They give you faster and more in-depth insight.
That's right. Practice reports are where it's at. Definitely check those out. Ideal. It's time to, we know why people tune in. They want to see the waivers. Let's get right to them.
It's 25 minutes in. Yes, it's the Waiver Wire show, which most of you have probably been. The whole reason why you tune in is because we give you awesome insight. Hold on, Mark's on the chat.
Oh yeah,
what's up, Mark?
What did Mark say?
I just talking about Ricky
Your salt to the
moon.
It's fair. He's right. With Kittle out and all these injuries, Juwan Jennings, he's on the block. What a guy. Just comes in here to just let us know.
Oh, okay. Guy was on it, dude. Guy was on it. He said the IR, man.
Yeah.
And then also Guy is also letting us know that, yeah, there was a lot of shoulder issues this week.
Drake London. Yeah. Sucked.
Oh, yeah. That was one guy we didn't talk about. Drake London. Yeah. Sorry about that. It's probably because I lost him in a trade to this like sleazy scumbag of a person. So I didn't want to talk about it anymore. I just wanted to pretend like he never existed. Anyways, he left the game in the fourth quarter. He's day-to-day. So
I think he's going to play.
Yeah, I think he's going to be fine. It's probably precautionary. Okay, so getting to the whole reason why most of you have tuned in for this week is the waivers. So we're going to start off with quarterback. My favorite and yours, JC, Karen Rodgers for those Steelers. So he's rostered at 25%. Honestly, maybe he's not washed up. Rodgers is 41, and he lit up the Jets for 244 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and no interceptions.
Looked good, man. Looked good.
Dude, literally old as Karen Rodgers is still doing it. He was 20 out of 30 with his completions. I wouldn't expect like 33 points on a weekly basis, but it's fun to start against a former team, right? They literally mirrored each other because he went against Justin Fields, who blew him up too. But anyways, in week 2, he gets Seattle, then New England in week 3, and he could prove to be useful starter in deeper leagues. He's worth adding for 1% of your remaining FAAB. So,
nice, I like that.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think Karen. I don't know. It's kind of like Justin Fields. Like he's gonna have like really great games. You're gonna like, yes, this was the smartest decision I ever made. Or you're gonna start him and be like, why did I start him? I should have started the other guy.
Right now, I'd rather start Aaron Rodgers over Bo Nix. So do with that what you will.
Aaron Rodgers over. Okay, I can see that. A little safety, a little more safety.
You might need him with Brock Purdy going down. So. And now you hate him too.
Dead. I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could. Well, I shouldn't say that because I might have to. Okay, next we're gonna go to Atlanta with Michael Penix Jr. He's actually, this one wasn't sure to put up because we usually, phony homies, the first time tuning in, we usually give waivers of people that are under 50% rostered in most leagues, right? He's actually rostered at 53%, so there might be a chance that he is floating out there. I actually had him in one of my leagues, and then somebody who claimed to know fantasy football told me to drop him. Like, just drop him. It's a stupid crap. Don't know who that would be. Maybe he's an expert. Maybe he's a host of a channel. I don't know. But anyways, Michael Penix should be the top quarterback ads this week. I had him. All right, added him. Anyways, though there are a couple of factors to watch for heading into week 2, his receiving core isn't at full strength. So no Darnell Mooney, no, at this point, Drake London, but I think you're going to shake that off, as Taylor would say. So the Falcons are also facing a difficult matchup in Minnesota. Still, Penix is impressing in his debut, completing 27 out of 42 passes for 298 yards and a touchdown, while adding 21 rushes and a score on the ground. In deep performance, he's worth a speculative add for about 1% of your FAAB as well. Okay, we're going to talk about our guy, Daniel Indiana Jones. He's rostered at 30%. Dude had a day against Miami. And that's what I'll say. It was against Miami. So literally had the best week of one. He was 22 out of 29 passes for 272 yards and a touchdown, rushed 7 times for 26 yards and 2 touchdowns, 31 points fantasy against Miami. Now, here's the thing. That was against Miami. I don't see this guy doing that every single week, but if for whatever reason, if you had him, awesome. So he does face the Broncos in week 2, which did okay on their defense. Right? I don't think he repeats, but if you're desperate, this is definitely a guy that I would add. Once again, 1% of your FAAB. Here's my question I was going to ask you at the top. Weeks, like the first 2 weeks of fantasy. So it could be week 1 and week 2 or week 2 to week 3. How hard are you going in the paint when it comes to waivers? Are you one of those guys that like, ooh, definitely like I get
like FAAB budget you're talking about?
Just FAAB budget in general.
Like it's different. We're talking FAAB budget, or if we're talking if you're using your number 1 waiver priority, you know. Like
okay, so let's go with FAAB.
Okay, FAAB I think is important to use. Here's my stance, okay? And it's something that Dustin said earlier in the pod. You can't win the championship week 1, but you can start to lose it. So if your team is not really coming together yet and you need pieces, use that FAAB budget, your free agent acquisition budget money, the fake $100 or fake $200, depending on your league, to acquire some of these players. You absolutely need that to stay alive, to stay relevant. You can't handle another loss in week 2 or another loss in week 3 and expect to, claw your way back into the play. It's very difficult to do. So use it before you lose it. That's just kind of my mentality, and it's always been. How aggressive you should be depends on your team. It's case to case, case by case basis. If you're struggling, if you don't even have a second running back, or you lost Brock Bowers, you don't have Rashee Rice, you just saw what Bo Nix did, and then let's say you had Tyreek Hill, you're freaking out. You're like, oh my God, what do I do? Yeah, I would use that FAAB budget. And we're going to tell you some more guys you should add just in case.
Okay, awesome. So my thing with like the first couple of weeks in fantasy when it comes to waiver, exactly what you said. Like, right, like if you have a lot of holes that you need to fill, like you need to get on the waiver because otherwise you just donated money to watch your team lose. However, what I would say also too is that in the first couple of weeks, you're probably going to get the most value out of the picks because you're actually seeing like the backup running backs. You're seeing how they leveled up or how they're being utilized and things like that versus like week 4 or week 8, right? At that point, you may find like some random guy that came out of nowhere and is blowing up everything, or some crazy injury happened you had. So here's you get, my point being is you get more value in the first couple of weeks versus week 4, and the later on you go down the road. So that's what I will say to that. Okay, so we finished off with Daniel Jones. Okay, so with Daniel Jones, as I mentioned before, he's 30% rostered. Actually, we already talked to him. I did that one. Sorry, guys. Geno Smith. So he's 35% rostered. Last week, he had a pretty decent week. His stats of last year was 4,320 yards, 272 yards rushing, 23 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. He averaged about 18 points in fantasy. The biggest thing about with Geno is you've got to make sure that Brock Bowers' knee is healthy. If you have any interest in Smith, he will play well in week 1 against New England he did play well against New England with 24 out of 34 completions for 362 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, along with 2 carries for 10 yards. He also has a tough matchup in week 2 against the Chargers. The Chargers look pretty stout on defense, and I don't know, man. Their offense looked awesome. Herbert looked, all of a sudden he's running out of the pocket. He's making plays. I think John just is in love with him. So he's just like, do what you want, man. That offense did not look super run heavy. So I would be a little bit concerning. I don't think Geno is going to like blow things up, but if you're in a pinch, this is your guy. Once again, 1% of your FAAB remaining. So as JC said before, yeah, go for it. If you need it, build your team. If you're hurting at quarterback, you don't have a backup, this is your time to grab them while you can. Any thoughts on that, JC, before I move on to running backs, or do you want to go on to tight ends or wide receivers? You want to kind of go back, or you just want me to keep going?
Yeah, no, I'll jump in. I'll do wide receivers. Thoughts on that is, yeah, I'm a little nervous with some of the guys I currently have at quarterback. I have Bo Nix everywhere. I think he'll sort it out, but I can't sit around and see. I can't wait. So I'm going to add some of these quarterbacks that you're talking about and start them until I see Bo Nix improve. So
any one of those that jump out with I know there's probably our league are watching, but any of those quarterbacks that you're just like, that's the guy I'm targeting, or you don't have to say
No, it's okay. Daniel Jones. I don't want him against the Broncos, but just what he could do with his legs, I think is, important.
Good.
He looked good. And I'm going to be honest, he wasn't throwing deep balls or anything. It's Daniel Jones thinking and dunking and getting it done, and that's just what it was. Aaron Rodgers is another guy I'd be interested in. He's not what he used to be, but I just need a guy who can give me 18 to 20
consistent
points. That's all I need. I can't survive with a guy who's going to give me 8 points. I can't do that. I need those 10 extra points
or
1. So
or 7.
Yeah.
Like Dak. Yeah. Okay. So start us off with wide receivers, dude.
Absolutely. So there's a lot to go here, guys. So buckle up. I think he's the number 1 ad in waivers, and that guy is Hollywood Brown of the Chiefs. His next game is against the Philadelphia Eagles, and he's rostered in only 25% of fantasy leagues. I'm recommending that you use about 10% of your FAAB budget. About $10 to $12 is kind of the range I'm looking at. But obviously, you know your league and you know what you got to do. With Rashee Rice suspended for 6 games and Xavier Worthy nursing a shoulder injury, one that we believe he's going to miss games with, and Travis Kelce not looking too hot. I know Theo is watching. Hollywood Brown suddenly is the last man standing in Kansas City. In week 1, he saw a monster 16 targets, and he caught 10 of them for 99 yards. Is he built to be the number 1 for Kansas City? Probably not, but for now he is, and that makes him a top 24 fantasy wide receiver for the next few weeks. He had a 42.1% target share in week 1. Listen to me, 42.1% target share, almost 50% of all the targets were to him. Okay, it's hard to pass up on that kind of opportunity. And while I don't expect him to get 16 targets again next game, you just can't pass up on that. You can't. Even 10 targets, he's going to be available on the waiver wire. Another guy who could get you 100 yards and a touchdown, a guy that I would shell out some of my FAAB budget for. And as for the rest of the Chiefs receiving room, guys like Juju and Tyquan Thornton, they're risky dart throws at best.
Yep.
Yeah, your thoughts?
Yeah, I totally agree, especially at this point, because Rashee Rice, he's not going to be in the picture for a while. Worthy's going to be out. I feel like this is a solid grab, and it gives you a little bit of wiggle room to kind of solidify that role as well, too, without losing week 2, week 3, week 4.
100%. 100%. Next guy that we're going to go ahead and recommend is actually a pair of guys, and they play for the Chargers. Quentin Johnston and Keenan Allen. That's right. Old man Keenan Allen for the Chargers. They go up against the Las Vegas Raiders next week, and Johnston is only rostered in 9% of leagues, so he's readily available in most of fantasy leagues. And then Keenan Allen is rostered in 50% of fantasy leagues. So both of them might be out there, but we recommend to go get them. I'd recommend to spend about 10% of your FAAB budget on Johnston. I'd rather have Hollywood Brown, but if Hollywood Brown's on a team, I would spend that 10, 12, $13 on Johnston. And then for Keenan Allen, I'd spend $7 to $10. The Chargers are back, okay? They're fully back. I loved what I saw out of that offense. I think they're going to finish the top 5 offense. Completely convinced. And week 1 made that crystal clear, okay? Quentin Johnston played over 80% of the snaps and came through with a 5-catch, 79-yard, and 2 touchdown performance. If he keeps producing like that, he'll hold off the rookie competition. Okay, and it'll solidify himself as a boomer bust wide receiver 3 or flex option. He's the real deal if you need that kind of upside. Yeah.
Wait. 80%? I'm sorry, I didn't know if my headphones are shorted. Did you say 80%?
He played over 80% of the snaps. Yeah.
Oh, he played. I thought he got targeted 80%. I was like, what?
No. He played over 80%. So gotcha. every offensive snap, 80% he was on the field for, which is pretty good. That's pretty damn good.
That's really good.
Like the only time he was on there for 90, but
The only thing I will say about that, with Quentin Johnston, he's going to be very boomer bust.
100%.
And the only thing I can say is that, like, in that red zone, they love going to him.
They do.
They love it. So I think, yeah, he's a solid, little risky, but he does have that upside. So I like it. And Keenan Allen, dude,
yeah.
Man.
So Keenan Allen, he had a solid week 1 too. He had 7 catches for 68 yards and a touchdown, but he only played 61.5% of the snaps. So think about that, 61.5 or 80%. If you're asking me directly, who should I bid for? Should I bid for Johnston? Should I bid for Allen? I only have one spot. You want to bid for Johnston. That's who you want to bid for, okay? Because he's on the field more. At 33, I'm not banking on Keenan Allen staying healthy and this efficient all year, but I see a world where he could be a flex option and has strong wide receiver 4 value. So, and if you have him on your team, and maybe you have Justin Herbert and a Keenan Allen stack, I don't know. Sell Keenan Allen. Sell high. If somebody's going to be thinking about that 1,000-yard season, and I don't think he's got 1,000 yards in him.
And honestly, I think it's also like the brand name. I kind of refer to that to a lot this season is like the brand name, like people that are really high on those. Like, those people that like Mark Andrews, who, by the way, last game got 1 target and thought he was going to be great. But anyways, on top of that, like, you probably could get somebody who's like, yeah, I'll take the risk. I'll roll the dice. Like, it's freaking Keenan Allen. Like, let's go. So I like that take. All right, 100%. Moving on.
All right, another wide receiver I'm going to go ahead and recommend is Darnell Mooney. And us Bears fans know he's a good wide receiver, okay? Now, he is rostered in just over 50% of fantasy leagues, but he should be scooped up everywhere. Anywhere he's available, you should go scoop him up. He's a strong wide receiver 3 and has strong flex appeal as soon as he's back. So definitely a guy I want. And you could tell if you watched that Atlanta game that they were missing something. And it's that Darnell Mooney factor. The guy just gets everything in between the numbers. The guy catches everything over the middle of the field. Really, really solid wide receiver and one that I would try to go and get. I probably would say, how much of your FAAB should you spend? I don't know, probably 5 to 8% of your FAAB. So $8 or 10 to 16, depending on if you're doing 100 or 200. That's another guy I recommend. All right, some deeper league stashes, okay? Deeper league guys. Cedric Tillman is a guy that I've been recommending for a little while now. DL can attest to it. I was high on Cedric Tillman. He's 28% rostered, okay? Cedric Tillman made a statement last week. He caught Cleveland's only receiving touchdown, and here's the kicker, he saw the same number of targets as the highly touted Jerry Jeudy, a guy that everyone was saying he's going to be the go-to guy. Not so fast, okay? Not so fast. With Joe Flacco under center, Tillman could have some sneaky wide receiver 3 upside from time to time, and he's definitely worth keeping an eye on as a potential flex option moving forward.
Like it. Like it a lot. Actually, honestly, like, that was a huge pickup. I'm glad you kind of like nudged me, like, dude. And I was like, yeah, really? But no, like, I was so happy to have him because, like, at least I still have a fighting chance, is the way I would put it. Yeah, I like him. I think he's going to be really great. I think with Joe Flacco, they connected a lot. So yeah, grab him.
He's 6'3", like 220. He's a big boy. He's a big guy.
He can do it.
Yeah, all right. He can do it.
He can do it.
Next guy's a guy who I recommend, if nothing else, the team names that you could do with this next guy are going to be fantastic. And that's Kayshon Boutte. Okay. Now, Kayshon Boutte's playing against Miami next week. Boutte. He's 1% rostered. Okay. If you're looking for a sneaky ad, Kayshon Boutte might be your guy. Now, in a game where Drake May threw 46 freaking passes, guess who was his top target? Not Stephon Diggs. It was Kayshon Boutte. Now, if May keeps airing it out like that, in week 2 against the Dolphins defense that struggled in their opener, Boutte could definitely keep rolling and develop a higher ceiling. He's worth a flyer if you're chasing that kind of volume.
So Tua likes the Boutte.
I like the Boutte.
Everyone likes the Boutte.
Everybody
He's a great player.
Boutte all day.
Boutte all day. The Boutte.
All right, next guy we're going to go ahead and recommend. We're flying, okay? We're flying through these. Christian Kirk, okay? I've never been the biggest Christian Kirk fan, but the guy's solid. He's 40% rostered. If healthy, a guy that we recommend, if nothing else, just because of the volume that's going to be around. Some risky flex flyers. I'm going to go fast through these. Alec Ayumanor, okay? He plays against the Rams this week. He's only 5% rostered. Why am I recommending him? Because he received 28% of the target share already. He's a rookie, and this was his first week in the NFL, and he's already getting 28, almost 30% of the target share. For those of you that know, that follow fantasy, if you're getting anything above 18 to 20%, that's elite. So on that alone, you want a guy like that. Another guy we're going to recommend in deep leagues, these are flex guys, Wan'Dale Robinson. He plays against Dallas. He's only 20% rostered. Marvin Mims, I don't know if you watched that Broncos game, but there was a lot of plays that they were trying to make for Marvin Mims. And another guy that we touted early on in the draft process, we talked about Mims. He was going to be a guy. He's the number 2 there for the Broncos. Another guy, a guy that I feel like we always talk shit about, but somehow, some way, he's always somehow relevant in these kind of articles, Rashad Bateman. He plays against Cleveland this week, and he's 45% rostered.
Yeah, can we – hold on. Let's take a little break on that. Rashad Bateman, man, like – I feel like I've added him throughout the years, and like, he's consistent, right? Like, I mean, he's not gonna get you like he may get you like that one really great week, but he's not like one of those guys that like you can set and forget it. But he's not. I think this is a good call because it's matchup dependent for sure.
Yeah, I would add him and do a little wait and see approach, see what happens. That's kind of
more like a stash.
Yeah, speculative ad, just a guy. This next guy, though, I would tell you should be very, very interested in, and that's Calvin Austin III. He plays against Seattle. He's only 2% rostered. For those of you that didn't watch that Steelers-Jets game, I watched every single snap. I was super interested to see Aaron Rodgers against Justin Fields, and the guy that I saw profit a ton was Calvin Austin. Now, here's a name that might have flown under the radar, okay? With DK Metcalf now in Pittsburgh, guess who's starting alongside him? Yeah, it's Calvin Austin. He's the number 2 receiver there. And he hauled in one of Aaron Rodgers' 4 passes in week 1, touchdown passes, okay? And he actually outscored Metcalf in PPR with 17 points. He's clearly got a role, and it looks like a safe bet for steady targets the whole year. It's too early to call him a lock at wide receiver 3, but he's definitely worth a speculative ad, and I could see him finish with wide receiver 3, knocking on the door at wide receiver 2 numbers. This is a guy who's available in everywhere. 2% rostered. 2%.
Yeah, I mean, you want to get a piece of that offense for sure. I've seen that a lot. Like, a lot of people are talking about him. I mean, this is a guy that honestly, like, I would say like a lot of people are going to be like, I'll pass. I'll wait a little bit. Once again, this is what I was talking about. Like, you need to grab these guys early and stash them because they may just save your whole fantasy season. So I feel like I wouldn't go as far as like he's the one, but like I feel like he's going to be productive. He's going to give you 17 points. I mean, I'll take that all day. Why not?
Just to rank them real quick, I probably would want I want Hollywood Brown number 1. I want Quentin Johnston number 2. Keenan Allen probably 5. Number 3, I'd probably want Cedric Tillman. Number 4, I'd want Kayshon Boutte. And number 5, I'd want Calvin Austin. In that kind of ranking. I have a few more interesting names in case you can't get any of those guys. Romeo Doubs was an interesting guy. He plays against the Commanders, and he's only 15% rostered. Josh Palmer of the Bills looked decent. He looked pretty solid. He plays against the Jets, and he's 25% rostered. Trey Tucker of the Raiders, another interesting name. He plays against the Chargers, and he's only 1% rostered. And then finally, Jaden Higgins of the Texans, and he goes up against the Buccaneers. He's 37% rostered. These are all just names. If they're out there, if you're suffering an injury somehow, some way, if you're without Xavier Worthy and you're scrambling and you don't know what to do at wide receiver, these are guys that we highly, highly, highly suggest you to add because they're going to have some flex appeal, and some of them are even going to be legit starters for you moving forward. Yeah?
Yeah. Wide receiver is definitely like deep, which is awesome. I think these are like, obviously we rank them, we put them together. Some of these are really good, like stick on your bench and wait and see approach. And some of them can honestly give you some fantasy potential just moving forward. Okay, so safe to say we're going to move on to running backs. So the first one I have with running backs, no surprise here, Dylan Sampson for the Cleveland Browns. It's a little bit messy because Quinshon Johnson just got signed.
Judkins.
So I'm sorry?
Quinshon Judkins.
That dude. So he got signed. but he's still kind of coming into things. I think Sampson is the guy that would be an awesome ad because he's only 46% rostered at this time. His next opponents are going to be Baltimore, Green Bay, and Detroit. I think honestly, like it depends on your FAAB. His true value, I would say, is around like $7. If you're desperate, you may want to spend up to 11. I don't think you're that desperate, but if you're kind of like at fair value, I would spend 4. It's really just a real true like chicken or egg dilemma when discussing the Browns versus Bengals matchup. Are the Browns a functional offense or are
Sorry, I didn't say anything.
Okay, sorry. Someone's coming over your mic. Okay, or are the Bengals the bad on defense? So that's the real question. While the answer probably lands somewhere in the middle, there's no denying that Sampson is the week 1. He was involved in week 1. He led the team with 12 rushes for 29 yards. Also caught 8 passes for 64 yards. So obviously this is the guy that is, I wouldn't say the guy in between the tackles. This is the guy that in space, he's going to get you some yards, especially in PPR formats. This is the guy that I would definitely want to add. But obviously it is a committee, and you still are dealing with Jerome Ford, who got 6 carries. Raheem Sanders, he actually got a goal line touchdown. And as I mentioned before, Quinshon Judkins is set to join next week after finally coming to terms with his rookie contract. But yeah, I would say like definitely for the passing downs, this is your guy. I think out of all of them, this is like the one running back that I feel if you added is going to add some serious advantages to your team. JC?
Yeah, I like Dylan Sampson. I thought he was going to be the guy coming out of Cleveland. Jerome Ford is what he is. He's just kind of a regular dude. Not a guy that I'm too concerned about. I am concerned, however, about Quinshon Judkins. I think it's going to take him a little bit of time to get it acclimated. We talked a lot about it a few episodes ago, how a guy who sits out and then comes in usually takes about 3 or 4 weeks to get the engine revving and looking good. So I think Dylan Sampson's going to have some appeal going on 2-3 weeks. And then even after, when Quinshon comes back, I think it's going to be a little bit of thunder and lightning. One guy runs a little different. The other guy's a little smaller and speedier, kind of like a scat back kind of guy who can catch the ball. I think Sampson's going to have some flex appeal going on, the whole season.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So my next guy that I want to talk about is Trey Benson. Trey Benson, honestly, I feel is like a top flex ad. Like, even with Connor on the field, I feel like this guy can be productive. I feel like this guy can actually help your team quite a bit. The Cardinals were the most productive. He was the most productive back in week 1 with 8 carries for 69 yards, 1 reception for 6 yards. Benson led the team in scrimmage yards against the Saints. The caveat was that his 52-yard run in the third quarter kept him from finishing with the 7 carries for 17 yards. So with me, I think either way you can't go wrong because it's James Conner in the past. James Conner hasn't always stayed the healthiest. He's missed a couple of games. This is a great handcuff if you do have Conner. But once again, even if you don't have Conner, I feel like he would be a huge add to your team. JC,
agreed. He's starting to look good. Trey Benson's starting to look good. That's all.
Okay. So the last guy I'm about to mention, which I wasn't excited to add, but he is out there. He's 2% roster, and that's Miles Sanders for the Dallas Cowboys. He looked pretty decent in last game. However, he did cough up the ball. So he did get a fumble. His next opponents, he's going against the Giants, the Bears, and Green Bay. Now, the Giants they got a solid defense. But however, Chicago, obviously, if you're watching the game, have trouble like stopping the run, right? I don't think Green Bay does. But, I mean, overall, if you're desperate, if you're in a deeper league, this might be the guy to add. And with like Jaden Blue being a healthy scratch in week 1, Dallas backfield was dominant by Javonte Williams, with Miles Sanders getting 11 snaps, providing a change of pace. after breaking off an impressive 49 yards. Sanders coughed it up, as I mentioned, in a critical fumble in the red zone. If it wasn't for CeeDee Lamb eating buttered popcorn before the game and dropping multiple passes, this fumble would have halted Cowboy fans. Anyways, long story longer. Like I said, deeper leagues, this might be your guy, but I wouldn't go crazy and try to desperately spin your FAAB or give up your waiver wire priority. The next guy I'm going to talk about is Kenneth Gainwell, 1% rostered. He's a running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. His next opponents are going to be Seattle, and they're going to be at New England and Minnesota. I don't even think you have to put a bid in if you're in those FAAB type of leagues. I think you could get them, but if you're super desperate, maybe $2, maybe. Probably the most surprising shout out of week one was the Steelers' 34-32 win against the Jets with Aaron Rodgers passing for 4 touchdowns against Aaron Glenn's defense. Couldn't have been on many people's bingo cards. So Kenneth Gainwell led Pittsburgh backfield in snaps and out-touched rookie Caleb Johnson 10-1 with a 37% share of the running back carries and the most receptions among the Steelers backs in week one. Signs point to Gainwell being a prominent weapon in the offense early on. So definitely a sneaky stash, I would say, until I think Caleb's going to supplant him, but it's week 2. So I think you got a little bit of wiggle room right there. If I had to rank all of my running backs right here, or we should rank them, I think Trey Benson is top, and then followed by Dylan Sampson. And then, I would probably go with Kenneth Gainwell if super desperate.
Cool. Yeah, Gainwell is interesting. They're going to use him a lot there. Pittsburgh, they just trust him. Guy's been in the league for a long time. Definitely still behind Jaylen Warren, but it's going to be like a 60-40 snap as it goes. So, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, Trey Benson, I'm very excited to grab if he's available because, like I said, I think he's going to be a really great flex spot. And, a perfect handcuff. I think this is a guy that you can move around in your rosters, and he's going to give you high production. All right.
I'm with you.
Let's flip over to those tight ends. JC, who do you have first?
This is probably the most excited I've been for a tight end in a long time in the tight end wasteland that we always talk about. The first guy we're going to recommend is Harold Fannin Jr. of the Browns. His next game is against Baltimore, a team that's not the greatest against tight ends historically. He's rostered in about 2% of fantasy leagues, and we're recommending that you spend at least 10% of your FAAB budget. So $10, probably in a $100 FAAB budget league. Harold Fannin Jr. isn't just a backup tight end. He's looking like a core part of the Browns' passing attack already. Now, here's important stuff to note. And when you hear these stats, you're gonna drive you bonkers. Okay, this is crazy. Cleveland made it clear that they plan to use him like he's been used in college, as a versatile, movable piece. And they followed through with that in week 1. Fannin led the team with 9 targets, the entire team with 9 targets, and he caught 7 of them for 63 yards, and even added a carry as a running back. That's elite usage for a rookie tight end. If you didn't catch the sleepers column that we did last time when we talked about it, here's a stat to remember. Fannin led all of college football last year with 117 receptions for 1,555 yards and 10 touchdowns. And he also forced 34 missed tackles. This is not a fluke. He is a legitimate weapon. And if the role sticks, Fannin is an easy low-end tight end 1 with upside to finish in the top 4 tight ends going forward. Grab him now.
Yeah, I think honestly he fell in drafts or even in the NFL draft because he came from like a smaller school, but he was like the guy in college. And the way that they're utilizing him, I'm like, you have Njoku, and this guy was getting the target shares just as much as him. So I feel like this is definitely a great point, and this is a guy I'm definitely targeting.
Absolutely. I think I'll probably go over the 10% and go to 20% FAAB budget, just because tight end, if you don't have one, this is a guy that you can set it and forget the whole year. Really, genuinely believe that. Another guy we're going to go ahead and recommend is Zach Ertz, who is rostered in just over 50% of fantasy leagues, but he might be out there. He is my number 2 tight end ad of the week. He scored a touchdown, and it looks like a guy that they're still going to use, especially in the red zone. The Commanders will use him. Some streaming options, some guys that you could get. Let's say that you just lost George Kittle, or let's say Brock Bowers is out for a week or two. Guys that we're going to recommend adding are Brenton Strange of the Jaguars. He's playing against Cincinnati and that horrible defense, and he's only 22% rostered. We're also recommending Chig Okonkwo of the of the Titans, and they play against the LA Rams, and he's only 35% rostered. A super athletic tight end, just another guy who could give you 5 to 7 points on a week. Finally, another guy that I'm excited for is Juwan Johnson. Now, he plays against the San Francisco 49ers, and he's only 2% rostered. Juwan is no stranger to the streaming circuit. We talk about him all the freaking time, I swear to God. He's 28, and he finished as a top tight end in PPR last season with Taysom Hill out until at least week 5. With a knee injury, Johnson could see even more opportunity, and he's definitely worth an ad if you're looking for a streaming tight end. Finally, a guy that DL mentioned shortly, Michael Mayer, okay, of the Raiders. If for any reason Brock Bowers is out, okay, Michael Mayer's 0% rostered. I don't think anyone has him anywhere. I don't even think Michael Mayer drafted himself in fantasy. But if Brock Bowers is out for any reason, he could be a sneaky play because he'll be the number 1 tight end for the Raiders, a team that absolutely uses the middle of the field and uses tight ends to do that. Yep.
Yeah, I think overall, like, tight ends are tough. There's some leagues that if you've gone away from tight ends and adding, but I feel with this rookie class, I think you can finally find someone who's going to get you some points. I think for streaming options, I would do, if your league is waiver priority, that would be a good idea. If it's like an auction league or a FAAB league, I don't know if you want to spend the cash unless you're super desperate, or you just decide that like you want a better matchup.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right.
Cool.
Done great.
All right, Dale, we did recommend some defenses as well. I do want to go over those. I'll take the first one and you'll take the second one. Is that cool?
Works for me. Go for it.
All right. First defense we're going to recommend to stream is the Green Bay Packers. They're 37.5% rostered in fantasy leagues. Had the Micah Parsons trade happened earlier, just before we started doing fantasy drafts and doing mocks, the Packers probably would have been one of the most popular DSTs to pick in the offseason. Still, after shutting down the Detroit Lions in week 1 and holding them to just 2 field goals in a dominant 27-13 win, this unit deserves your attention. Remember, the Lions last year averaged 33 points per game, and the unfortunate Packers, because I hate them, kept them to 13 points. Up next, they host the Washington Commanders on Thursday night, and while it's not the best fantasy matchup for a defense, especially with the short week, since they play on Thursday, the Packers defense is still a solid ad for those looking for streaming options.
Okay. Screw the Packers because I hate them. It sucks that they actually are looking good. So the next defense that we are going to recommend are those Indiana Colts, 32.2% roster. The Colts defense deserves some love. I mean, they absolutely shut down Miami, keeping them scoreless until late in the game, even with all the Dolphins' star power. In week 2, they're actually going up against Bo Nix, who had a little bit of the interception issue that was going on. I think he saw, he was seeing some ghosts out there, which sets up for another favorable matchups. So yeah, I definitely would recommend the Colts. Some other guys that I would possibly recommend. I'm going to go with the actual Raiders. I know it's kind of weird, but they produce multiple big plays, sacks, picks, forces, fumbles in week 1. Now they're going up against Justin Herbert and the Chargers. Prime opportunity. Although Justin Herbert had a great week, you never know. It doesn't always transfer week to week. And also maybe a sneaky one would be the Rams. They're rostered at 16 to 27%. They were explosive in week 1 with multiple sacks and takeaways, facing a struggling Titans offense. So they're going up against a rookie, and with going up against a rookie quarterback. With that being said, so a couple other guys you may want to do, especially if you're going against like matchup dependencies or yeah. Okay.
Cool.
And that did it. Holy crap.
Flew through another one.
Bro.
Like
we're getting really good at these waivers shows.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
We've been doing it for 5 years or something.
It's almost like clockwork. That's it for today's episode, phony homies. Remember to shoot your start sit questions to us by tweeting us, DL.
Tweet FFG.
And using the hashtag to ask us any fantasy-related questions, whether it's marital questions or fantasy football-related questions, whatever fantasies you have. Remember to use the hashtag, DL.
Ask us FFG.
Or send us questions to our email. DL, what's the email?
Our email. Don't send marital questions. But you can email us anything else, especially anyways, you can email us at askusffg@gmail.com.
Or you could leave us those voicemail questions, which we love, and you can send us pictures if you want. DL, send those nudies to what phone number?
Send it to JC. He's a creeper. So send it to area code 708-655-4508. We would love to play your questions live on our show because, I don't know, I always think they're funny and they're entertaining. And, yeah, it's just a lot of fun. So, once again, that area code 708-655-4508.
That's it. Funny homies. Thanks for tuning in as always. Thanks to DL for his mediocre fantasy advice. My name is JC, and we'll catch you on another episode of the Fake Football Guys Show. Like, share, subscribe, and
smash!